Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sam United People's TV here with another, as you know, morning news live show. We're going to be running through the latest. I've called it all noise in the headline. That's all it is. It's just sort of the Daily Mail. Throw another little one out there. Ooh, how much will his payoff be? Ooh, he's only got 3 games left, says David McDonald. Ooh. Anyway, I'm going to cover it all because that's what we do. We run through the news on here, and as you all know, I said it yesterday, I'll say it every day. It's a choice as to what articles and what journalists you properly discuss, and which ones you just kind of point out and go, yeah, I'm not sure about that one. There's one particular point in this Daily Mail article that kind of made me laugh out loud this morning. I'll run through that. I want to speak through Senne Lammens' comments from his brother, which I think are quite interesting. Quite a lot about Amorim. We'll speak about Chelsea coming up. And a little bit on Kobbie and Newcastle, which again, I think is just opportunistic reporting. I think that's what I would call that. And who's here from the mods and the members gang? Let's try and have a good show and get involved in the chat. I'll try and answer as many of your questions as I possibly can. Right? Let's see who's here from the mods and the member gang. Let's have a look. Steph and Josh and Carl, good morning to you. And you're there as well. We've got Volpez, Sue, you're here. Moonraker. I haven't seen that film in a long ass time. Goldfinger. Man. Goldeneye. Sorry. Got distracted by thinking about N64 games. Will, we've got Mike, we've got Fred and Mr. Moon, a couple of non-members, Joe Warren, Paul Eaton, and Odie. Good morning to everyone. Shane, you're saying I hate to say it, but I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this season. Of course we are. Let's be totally honest. We've started with 4 games, 4 points, and we're 14th. It's very much a continuation of the league position of last season, 15th to 14th. You could argue that's progress, right? I'm not going to argue that. Now, one thing I want to say to kick off this show and get started is, I want to say big congrats to Phil Jones, who I believe has just passed his, what was it? It was a course. So I should have probably looked at this again before I brought it up. He's passed a course which I think helps him. It's like a business course to do with becoming a sports director. I think he's also doing his UEFA coaching licenses at the same time in the background. But congratulations to Phil. Oh, thank you very much, Spider, for reminding me about that. You can all see the pinned message in here, right? There is a new address for a new P.O. box. You know how long I've been spending bloody trying to get this sorted. Royal Mail, absolutely crap, right? Absolutely crap. But I've now cancelled that, managed to get a refund, and we've opened a new P.O. box, and I've also tested the route, and it worked perfectly. So that there is the new address for United People TV. If you want to get something on this wall up there, that's the community wall, which is looking a bit bare so far. I want to get more on it. That there's a program from Stu. That there is an image from, is it James? Can't remember who it was. I've got the letter over there. I really want you to try and help me fill this wall, whether it's photos, whether it's a bit of memorabilia, whether it's just something you want to get on there. This got 3 sides because there's none on that wall over there. But I want to get it completely full with all the stuff that you send in. So it's the community wall, and this PO box works. And also it's open globally as well, not just to UK. So no matter where you are in the world, if you use that address, it will work. I apologise it's taken this long, but you can blame Royal Mail for that. DP is saying, can't see what's up there, it's too small. I know you can't see what's up there, but I'll keep you updated with photos in the Discord. You can just know that everything up there is from the community. I can't possibly give you a camera that's going to be tight on that because then you wouldn't see my face. That's not how cameras work. Right. I don't mean that to condescend anyway. It's just not how cameras work. Let's quickly speak about the footy last night. I didn't even watch the Champions League last night. I was watching Slow Horses. Quite enjoying that. I know I was a little bit late to it, but I'm 2 seasons in. I reckon Gary Oldman really enjoyed playing that role. 4-4. 8 goals in the second half. That's got to be a record, isn't it? Don't know. Bit of a nuts game. Anyway, the game that had consequence from last night is this one. Benfica 2-0 up at home against Karabag, and they lose 3-2. Ho. That's a zinger. And it led to Bruno Lager getting sacked overnight. And then we come to conversations this morning. Now, it was it yesterday? Was it the day before? One of the two, can't remember. That I was running through reports from the Times and from Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail. Exclusive Benfica delegation was watching City play United because the future potential Benfica president, who's not actually... Anyway, potentially wants to bring Ruben Amorim... Anyway, no. Mourinho's going back to Portugal. Which will be an interesting one. I bet you Porto fans will be buzzing about that. But Benfica sat their manager overnight, and it looks like they're going to be bringing in Jose Mourinho. I still think at some point, Jose is going to be the Portuguese manager. Surely. You'd think so. Anyway. That's, I suppose, an interesting one. And if there was any truth... I don't actually think the reports suggested that the Benfica delegation was looking to replace their current manager, Ruben Amorim, because, as I said, I think the main person there was a potential next president. I don't quite know. But anyway, Mourinho's going back to Portugal. Let's see what happens there. And I thought this is really not being spoken about at all, is it? That there is Villa losing on penalties to Brentford in, the third round of the FA? Yeah, not FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Carabao Cup. Got carry bags in my head now. That's the first goal that Villa have scored this season. I think it was... Hey, look, I shouldn't really speak about my predictions because my predictions are absolutely abysmal, but I did say that it felt like Villa were going to be having a drop-off this season. I did not think that Villa would have the drop-off that they have had in terms of how far down the table they are, but they've had a drop-off. Right, let's speak about United. Mourinho not back to the UK. Young Steve saying Benfica have Chelsea at some point. Yeah, I believe that's their next Champions League game. I think so. I think they've got Newcastle as well. Anyway, the under-21s were in action last night. Cheeto was playing. You got Tyler Fletcher. You got Gabriel Bianchetti. You got Bendita Mantato. Camerson. Scanlon. Anyway, they lost 2-1. 2-0 down. Was it Barrow they were playing? I think it was Barrow. 2-0 down. They lost 2-1. Wasn't the best overall game, wasn't the best performance from the lads. But yeah, that's the under-21s. Just wanted to bring you that. Yeah, Grimsby did win. They beat Sheffield Wednesday 1-0 away, I think. Yeah. I'm saying at least someone's having a worse season than us. It's always a positive somewhere. Now, before I start speaking about Ruben, I want to sort of run through this. This was a photo that Ahmad shared on Instagram yesterday. And it's just like, it just really gives you, it might just be that it's these fans that get more visibility, that shout louder and say madder things, therefore it gets more visibility. But Ahmad sharing this on Instagram yesterday, I've seen it floating around a few times, like fans like really going in on him for sharing that photo because it was a missed. Oh, Ahmad, all you need to do from that was bring the ball down. You could probably squared it to Mbuma, but no, he went for the overhead. And sort of like people trying to dig Ahmad out now. I don't think it, when you've got United playing how we are playing, I don't think anybody's safe, really. Apart from the new signings. I mean, they've had like 1 foot in the door. Šeško's had 1 Premier League start. And Mbuma looks class. Has done every game. He's kind of got not better and better because obviously he was more impactful against Burnley, but even against City, he was a standout. And then, yeah, we missed Cunha. And you're saying calling them fans is a disservice to... Yeah, it's just... I don't know It's just... It is what it is with modern fan culture and the access to an audience that whoppers get. So many of them. So many of them, man. And you know what, right? I really... Steve does a good little... Was it Wibble Watch? Calling out the crap you see in the press. You know what I really think I might do this week? I think I want to do a video on United fans and kind of a bit of self-awareness. Now, you might say it's going to be completely and utterly bloody ironic of me to say this, considering I do a daily live news show and a video every afternoon. But anybody who's a subscriber of United People's TV will know that I try my best and have tried my best for years to try and cut through narratives and to not just repeat stuff I see everywhere and claim it as news. I'm just covering news. No, what you're doing is perpetuating shit, and you therefore spread it. It's like I don't know a better. For some reason, my mind's gone here. It's like a wildfire, right? If you've got a wildfire going on, what you sometimes do is you go further in front of it and you burn a bit of forest so that by the time the wildfire comes, it can't catch on anymore because you burn it. In my head, this makes sense, right? It probably doesn't. Whereas if it's coming out in all of the press and you add to it, then you just kind of add more fuel to it and it keeps going and going and going. But if you just don't fuel it, then it doesn't gain as much momentum. Like Spidey going down there saying you fall into the herd mentality with some things. It's some things I do. And I know I do, man. I am a Manchester United fan. I'm emotional. I love my club. Sometimes I hate that I love my club, but I do. And it's just like the pressure that's exerted on every facet of Manchester United, every player of Manchester United, sometimes gets exacerbated by the fan base rather than helped. It's kind of what I think. Someone down there saying, you were clueless analysing Ruben's tactics. They're useless in the Premier League. Thanks for adding to the conversation. Really appreciate that comment. I think they have. No, they've not worked, have they? Anyway, my lunchtime video today is going to be about a tweak that I think is just absolutely necessary from this point. Right? Absolutely necessary for Ruben Amorim. Right? I did my video yesterday. It's just my opinion on him. I don't want Ruben Amorim sacked right now, but I'm sat here at a point where I'm really at a crossroads. Like the papers, like David McDonnell coming, 3 games to save his job. It's just. They're just kind of making that. I wouldn't say they're making things up, but that's what I call it, opportunistic reporting. Opportunistic reporting. Like if you throw a grenade into like this environment, it's just going to explode, isn't it? I suppose you throw a grenade into any environment, it's going to explode. My mind's not really working properly this morning. Happens quite a few times. Anyway, let me read some chat here and I'll get back onto the show. I lost my train of thought. Ned the Red saying, what are Ineos seeing that we aren't seeing? And where is the line for Amorim? Is it finish 7th or 8th? Or is it don't get us relegated? Well, Ned, we know what the ambitions were this season, going into it. Omar Barad, he said it on record. I think he said it in the interview with Andy Mitten in United We Stand. He said the ambition was to finish 6th. Now, on current form, there ain't no chance we're finishing 6th. Still possible. But my word, have United got to not turn a corner, but I don't know how to describe it. Like we drew against Fulham when we really should have had that game, I wouldn't say done and dusted by half-time, but going into half-time at Craven Cottage, it should have been guaranteed 1-0 to United, and it probably should have been 2-0. And we should have been sitting pretty. And then it would have been a case of defending our box, which actually we did really well last season. In certain games where we needed to, we were actually very good at defending our box. But we didn't score those goals. Ended up being, did we go in at 1-0 at half-time? I can't remember. We lost against Arsenal. We should have won. City, we got demolished. Right? Okay, well, you're down here trolling, man. Pre-season was a disaster. You tried to accommodate Mount, who's never a United player. I'm glad you just exposed yourself as a troll. So enjoy yourself in silence now. United's pre-season, I think, was largely pretty damn positive. The Bournemouth game, which again just frustrates you even more because there's sort of like a certain pressing shape you saw in that Bournemouth game. I think it was 4-4-2 out of possession, wasn't it? We drifted into a bit of a different shape. It works so much better. Man, we played well in that game. I know it's pre-season, so the levels and the intensity aren't going to quite be the same. But man, I think that's kind of where a lot of the anger is coming from. I don't think it was deluded to be a United fan coming into this season from an optimistic perspective after the summer that we had. Yeah, I know we didn't sign a midfielder. That pre-season could have been better. Sure, it could have been better. But I think the pre-season was largely good. We spoke about the culture. We spoke about the players being frozen out. And to go from that into this season in that Arsenal game where we should have won, like after that, going into that Arsenal game, the first game of the season, we were all nervous. Of course we were. It's Arsenal. It's a bloody massive game to start the season with. But we came out of the defeat. I remember the match reaction. I remember the comments we were all having. I remember everybody in the chat was saying like, oh man, we played really well. We should have won that game. It's a really good example. If we can play like that every game, then man, we're gonna be fine this season. Nobody came out of a defeat to Arsenal on the first weekend worried. Really. It was kind of a continuation of what you saw in the pre. Oh, that's good. Yeah, nice, playing once a week. And then Fulham came, deflated it a little bit. Grimsby came, deflated it a lot. Burnley came. That was difficult. International break, lose to City. Danny saying Arteta got 5 points from 30 early in his first full season. If it's a long-term project, you need to focus on the long term. I saw this pointed out by Carl Anke yesterday, which I think is a really good point. If I remember correctly, that season for Arteta, was that COVID season? Was that played behind closed doors? Wow, would have made a big, big difference, man. To that noise, to that feeling of frustration inside the stadium, which absolutely affects the players. I mean, atmospheres do affect players. That's kind of par for the course. But I did my video yesterday explaining my position on Ruben Amorim. 1 second here. Didn't turn my notifications off. Schoolboy error. Back in the game. I did my video explaining it yesterday, right? And I don't need to do it again today. What I am going to do in my lunchtime video is I'm going to just pull up the tactics board and say, look, this is the tweak that I would like to see from Ruben Amorim. I've already explained it to you a few times, but I'm just going to do it in the video, pulling up a formation, showing that I'm not asking him to change his philosophy. You know, Ruben said that. You're going to have to change the manager before I change my philosophy. It's not what I think he should do in any way. I don't think that Ruben Amorim should come into the Chelsea game and all of a sudden we line up in a 4-3-3. Like, it's just not going to happen. This is not FIFA. This is not Football Manager. It won't happen. But what I think can happen is some small tweaks that I think can make a big difference. And even if it is just call it a stopgap until we do have better midfielders. And if the midfield was that critical to the system, then it should have happened this summer. Andy saying Arteta has spent $1 billion and still won zilch. Man. If I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be so... Man, the frustration would be like up to there. Completely up to there. Because Arteta's approach in those bigger games, like go to Anfield, no, yeah, a draw's good. A draw is... Oh, never mind. Szoboszlai scored a cracking free kick and we've just lost. Okay, never mind. Very good, largely, across the course of the season. And they have had a heck of a summer. Anyway, who cares about Arsenal? Let's speak about United. Let's speak about Ruben Amorim. And let me just run through what the noise is saying, okay? As I said, I'm going to cover it. And the noise yesterday is talking about the payoff that Ruben Amorim would get if he was to be replaced. And sort of, look, the 4 favourites to replace him. They're talking about different candidates. And I'll run through that and why it's so stupid. They're saying that United will have to pay Amorim $12 million if they sack him within his first year. And, of course, he was appointed on November the 1st, right? So that's the main headline that they're running with. that if United wanted to sack Ruben Amorim, that they would have to pay him 12 million. Now, I want to ask you a question. Ignore that thing about Ruben Amorim there and how much it would cost to sack him. How much do you think Manchester United have paid in compensation packages for managers post-Fergie? Now, that's David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Erik ten Hag. I don't think they... Did we have to sack Rangnick? I can't actually remember what happened there. How much do you think we've paid to those 5 managers in compensation? Where there's a blame, there's a claim. Come on. Anyway, it's a lot of dough. Right, Spider Socks, you're saying 75. Kieran, you're saying 100. Matthias, you're saying 80. 100 mil, quite a few. And 138 mil, bloody hell. Anyway, maybe the numbers weren't as crazy as I thought they were. More than 54 million has been spent in compensation, according to the Daily Mail. David Moyes, 5.2. Louis van Gaal, 8.4. Mourinho, nearly 20 mil. Jeez. Solskjaer with 10.5 and Erik ten Hag 10.4, if they are correct. Might need to do some verification in that, but it's, my word, United have spent a lot on sacking managers, haven't they? Just thought I'd pull that number in. Anyway, there's one thing, like, I don't really think I need to run through too much else inside this. Charlie, you're saying, does that include the staff? I'm pretty sure that does include the staff. Don't quite know. But this thing here, right, has proper got me scratching my head. I'll read it out, and then we'll talk about it. A number of figures close to United's first team squad are increasingly concerned that Ruben Amorim hides when the going gets tough in matches and does not do enough to inspire from the technical area. Now, I'm very interested to know what you all think about this, because I don't really think at any point prior to the Grimsby one that was so visceral and that photo will haunt him, I've never looked at Ruben Amorim and gone, oh, I wish he was just on the the bloke's always on the touchline. He is always walking around. You know, first of all, I don't... This feels like such a... such a dumbass thing to give a toss about. I couldn't care if my manager was twerking, was lying down, was doing a headstand, was facing backwards, was sleeping. It doesn't really matter. Sure, there'll be game. He's got his half time, and sure, there might be moments in a game where he can help with a little bit of instructions. But shit, me, like, this is some big old stretch, and this is what I would call massively opportunistic, just whiffy reporting. Because people were going to remember the Grimsby situation. People are going to remember that he had his feet up when Bruno scored. Was it Bruno scored that penalty? He had his feet up. Like, I've never really looked at Ruben Amorim and gone, oh, if only he was out in his technical area more, that would solve the problems. And when you always reach this point in time, people are now saying that Ruben Amorim's too emotional. I mean, what United need is somebody who's a little bit less emotional. It's like, before Ten Hag came in, I was convinced that United needed a disciplinarian. All these kids just walking around, do it what they wanted with no repercussions. But Ten Hag went too far to the extreme. And that's kind of the truth of it. Like, I think being an emotional manager is a good thing to a point, but you need balance. I just found this really opportunistic. Like, I've never really once sat there and thought, oh, man, if only Ruben Amorim was like more active. He's always on the touchline. Always. It's just if that's not evidence of, just like, as I said, taking a slight narrative, taking something here, and it's like you almost have a round table and you go, Oh, you're not like, this is like, oh, this happened there. Can we report this? Oh, yeah, good. Yeah, that fits. I like that. I'm sure there's going to be some of you think, oh, yeah, I agree with that. Ned, you're saying, I've never seen another manager so actively on the sideline. Honestly, it's the most hilarious thing. All he is really is constantly on the sidelines, constantly giving in, maybe not constantly, but it's just, that's when you know that they're really just trying to find any way to add something onto it, any way to add another conversation and another talking point into it. That's what they're going to be doing. But Ineos have made their feelings clear. They haven't really made their feelings clear. But not publicly, not with a statement. He's backed. He's going to be in charge for the Chelsea game. And as far as Ineos are concerned, they are looking at the long term. They're not looking at Chelsea, Brentford and Sunderland and going, ooh, then we can assess. They're looking beyond that. But truth be told, as you can see from the thumbnail on today's show, it's like results are the only things that can change that. And as I said, there are two ways in which that changes. Number one is within Ruben Amorim's control, and number two isn't. You know what I've said about scoring goals. Ruben Amorim's system, which has completely and utterly failed, up until, the City game, I think it was, had created the most chances in the Premier League. And at the same time, we also had the worst conversion rate in the entire Premier League. Now, were all of those chances golden chances? No. Were some of those chances quite difficult to score from? I would imagine so, yes. But the lads have just got to score more goals. And that's exactly why Ruben Amorim is sitting there with his feet up watching Bruno's penalty. Because he can't bear to watch it. Can't bear to watch the fact that he and his team need a 97th minute winner to beat Burnley after the game that they have had. That's why he was hiding away and shying away from it, because he felt exactly as I was like. Relief, but frustration at the same time. So scoring more goals, that's on the players. There's nothing that can be coached into at all, man. It's just fucking finish your damn chances. 6% conversion. 6. For every 100 shots, we score 6 goals. And during that same time frame, stat-wise, Liverpool's conversion rate, I think, was 27%. 4. Nearly 5 times better than United's. There's nothing that Ruben Amorim can ever do about that. And you're saying it's always going to be hard with a whole new front line who haven't played together. And I wouldn't really say it's to do with players and partnerships and collectiveness and etc. That's more to do with chance creation than it is chance finishing. Chance finishing is Cunha away at Fulham. Straight through, square foot. Oh, it's so close. It's hit the post, but it was close. Finishing is down to the individual. Of course, you can improve the chances that you create with better link-up play. Given, like Mbumo's goal against Burnley. Man, the simplest of goals. Long to Xerxes, flick on to Dalot, cut back to Mbumo. You're not going to miss. But as well as scoring more goals, there is, I think, a small tweak that Amorim can do to his system, which doesn't throw everything out of the... Just doesn't throw everything out the window. It doesn't force him to change his philosophy. It just brings a slight tweak in positions, which I think can help everybody. What are you saying down there? How is it that we're banging in all kind of goals in training, but come match day we can't score one to save a life? Mate, that's... I mean, you kind of know the answer to that, don't you? It's pressure. I bet you're all bloody wicked at football when no one's watching you. But if you've got to do it in front of 75,000 baying fans at a time when the scrutiny is right up there and you're almost choking on it, then things you find easy when no one's watching, man, you're going to find a lot more difficult. But that's what professionals are paid to be able to they're paid to be able to teach themselves how to cope with that. And also be good enough that you can cope with that. Bit of both. Haven't heard anything this week. Anybody seen anything on whether Cunha's going to be fit? With a hamstring injury, I don't really think that you don't really bring anyone back. You don't rush them back, do you? We'll see. What was she saying down there? Leyden is saying, Amorim needs to do more introspection. Play the players in positions where they are effective. I get you want a system or whatever, but playing multiple players out of position is never a good idea. Now, that part I would 100% agree with. It sounds so simple when you say it, isn't it? Play your best players in their best positions. That is not a rocket science sentence. Which is what I think is annoying me so much about the scorn that's happening towards Bruno. I swear on my life, if Bruno Fernandes had joined Man City instead of joining United when he did, I'm not saying that he would be in the exact same conversation level-wise as Kevin De Bruyne was, but I tell you what, the narrative around Bruno would be so different if he was dropped into that environment and that team. And there was never a conversation about whether Bruno Fernandes is going to be playing central midfield. You'd just be talking about his attacking output numbers and nothing else really, because he's got the team around him. So it really does annoy me that Bruno Fernandes is playing so deep. And it's like, so often I see Bruno Fernandes bloody between the two centre-backs receiving the ball. And I'm like, why is Bruno there? Why is Bruno so bloody deep? Jonathan, you're saying he did an article saying his best games from deeper. I ran through that yesterday, saying Bruno felt one of his best games, the most complete games, was against Everton when he was used as a deeper midfielder. Anyway, right. Ruben. The only thing that changes this momentum, and he knows this, it's just results. It's just results. And we've got Chelsea on Saturday. Do they play tonight in the Champions League? Is it Chelsea Bayern? Have I made that up? Yeah, Chelsea are away at Bayern. I suppose that's a good thing. Might have to watch that game, see how Chelsea play. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the lunchtime video because I really want to speak about that tactical shit. It's not even a shift, man. It's not, I swear to God, that's the reason why I think it's so logical. It's not a massive shift at all. Right, Shah, you've clearly got a personal vendetta against Bruno. That's your opinion. To try and say that Bruno's the weakest link is just... like, it's such an unbelievable stretch. And I know you can criticize Bruno. I know you can talk about the weaknesses he has in his game. But it is such a hyperbole and exaggeration to try and suggest that Bruno Fernandes is the biggest weakness in Manchester United. Come on. Richie saying, Sam, you have to feel for Kobbie. No, guys, don't worry about it. Kobbie's going to Newcastle. Newcastle are keeping tabs on Kobbie Mainoo ahead of the January transfer window. Yeah, right, that's good luck. I said it. Was it last week or was it the week before? About the fact that, like, you know, one thing that's, again, probably being used against Bruno Fernandes is the fact that we've got Kobbie in this squad. Like, the fact that we have such a gifted, talented central midfielder in this squad at a time where our central midfield is getting absolutely cooked. That's really not helping Ruben Amorim and not helping Bruno Fernandes at all. I already spoke about the competition. Competition only exists when opportunities follow. If Bruno Fernandes is playing 90 minutes every game, Not really much of a competition. Or maybe what we saw against... I say what we saw against City we'll see more often. Man, just screw that, man. Just play Bruno further forward. Does that mean that there might be games where Cunha, Bruno and Mbeumo might be fit, but one of them might be on the bench? Yeah, fine. That's what good squads have. Top squads have got elite players. Sometimes they can't all play. It is a team squad game. If we're talking long-term here, that's the most long-term thing you could possibly say. No, it's not about you playing every single bloody week, mate. We're here for the team, for the squad, for the overall harmony. Sometimes that means you're going to have to drop out. Because we have quality in those positions. Of course I want to see Bruno in the starting... Sorry, Bruno. I want to see Mainoo in the starting 11 against Chelsea. But at the same time... And this goes for, and this is why a tweak is necessary, man. Because any conversation we have about midfield, it ends with this exact same point. You can put Mainoo in that midfield. You can put Casemiro in that midfield. Ugarte in that midfield. Bruno in that midfield. It's still a compromise because you're playing a two-man midfield. None of those four together are exactly what is needed to play in midfield. And you're talking about it has to be about trust. I mean, Ruben Amorim before the City game, I think he was pushed on Kobbie Mainoo again, and he was speaking about the improvements to his game, the tweaks to his game, speaking about the pace, speaking about the sort of explosive pace, speaking about the improvements that he can make. I mean, no 20-year-old is complete in world football, but they need time to play. They really need time to play. As he's saying, if Kobbie leaves, it's down to Amorim. I don't think Kobbie's going anywhere. If I'm being totally honest, I think this is just a season that we have to get. Kobbie hasn't left in the summer. I tell you one thing, and this my biggest fear about Kobbie Mainoo is this. My biggest fear is that the season progresses. United aren't going to be letting Kobbie Mainoo go out on loan in January. Everybody can come sniffing if they want. Maybe that's a conversation that could actually come back in if he really is not getting anything between now and January. Maybe. I don't actually think so. But what I'm most worried about is if this season goes on and it continues progressing and Kobbie doesn't play enough and Kobbie doesn't get into the World Cup squad, which he absolutely should, how that's going to affect his relationship with Manchester United. Not Ruben Amorim, but just Manchester United as a whole. I think that would make Kobbie look at United differently. Whereas right now, I think Kobbie would love to play for United for many, many years right now. He wants to be that he wants to be that central midfielder for us. I just worry that relationship might get tainted a bit if he doesn't make the World Cup squad. Neil saying, you love to hold on to players who don't cut it at United. Mainoo's not cut it. Ahmad's not cut it. What's Shaw done in 10 seasons or Maguire? They shine here and there. No consistency. You really want to drag Ahmad into it? Pretty sure Ahmad was consistently the brightest spark last season. Has Ahmad started this season incredibly well? No, but Ahmad's... I'm a little bit disappointed in Ahmad in the fact that I think his best games last season came from that right wing back position. So I'm sure it is to do with him getting used to Mbeumo down that right hand side. Cuttermus is saying Amorim at Sporting was ruthless and went heavily with the youth, which when trust in the first team sort of expired. I don't even think it's a... Honestly, I don't think this is like a trust thing. I don't think it's an effort thing. It's an execution thing, and it's a quality thing, and an overall structure and setup. Mate, I wish United were as consistently great as Gungshi is. Down here, gifting 10 memberships, one of the OGest of Gs. Legend, man. Love you. Anthony saying a fit Martinez would improve this team so much. I didn't want Shaw to kick a ball for United last season. My narrative has not all of a sudden flipped because he had a bad game against City. I didn't want him anywhere near my bloody team this year. At all. How is Luke Shaw still starting for Manchester United? It sounds like some sort of parallel universe. It's not. It's right here, right now. Great tune. It is genuinely hilarious that bloke is still playing. And I suppose Amorim's not been scarred by the memories of 8 years like we have as United fans. He just came in and he saw Luke Shaw trying to work on his fitness all summer, or all season. Then he worked on it on the off season. He came back, he looked sharper. So this is Ruben Amorim's first sort of experience, really, of Luke Shaw as a player. But he has not, and unfortunately for Luke, his body has finally given up. I think prior to this return from injury, which we're seeing now from Luke Shaw, he was always able to sort of kind of re-find his old levels and made you go, well, that's why we bring him in. Nah, man, not anymore. Nope. That looks very much like a player who's spent the last 6 years of his career injured. It sucks. I really feel sorry for him, but no, take him out of the team. Take him out of the team. Aiden Heaven. It'd be a lot to ask him. And I'll tell you what, actually, when you think about it more, what you're probably more likely to see is Lenny Yoro going back to left centre-back and Mazraoui coming in as a right centre-back, which is actually Mazraoui's best position. People keep talking about Mazraoui as a right wing-back. Nah, man. Screw that. Do not want that. If I'm going to be taking Luke Shaw out of the team and Aiden Heaven isn't going to... Could Aiden Heaven start? He may well start. But an alternative would be Yoro on the left-hand side because I think I don't even know what Yoro's long-term position is going to be. I still am convinced that he'll be our next central centre-back. In the summer, I think I would love to see that. In the summer, Manchester United move Maguire on. I think we can keep the lick for another season, but then Yoro moves to be that central centre-back. Mazraoui comes in we might even sign a new wide centre-back at that point. But yeah, play Mazraoui at right centre-back, man. Don't play him at right wing-back. Don't play him at right back. Don't play him at number 10. People speaking about him playing at central defensive midfield. I saw Steve's video. Maybe, but again, you're looking kind of square pegs, round holes, aren't you? Play Mazraoui at right-sided centre-back. It's his best position. Brian is saying, Sam, as part of your comments of Shaw, do you see his limited experience, especially in the Prem, being an issue? Ruben never played here, nor his staff. They're all young and inexperienced. I'm guessing you're not talking about Shaw being inexperienced. Look, man, that's just kind of... I'll be honest, I don't have the energy for that argument. All the idea that Ruben Amorim didn't have enough experience in the Premier League, and it's sort of like, I'll just go and then sign an experience... Go and sign, I don't know, Marco Silva. He's experienced in the Premier League. I want him to come absolutely nowhere near United. Like, experience is one part of the puzzle. Anyway, I want to finish on this little note because I thought this was quite an interesting point. Senne Lammens, right? In line to make his debut against Chelsea. Let's put this down as a poll, actually. Everyone has a poll. Start a poll. Should Lammens start against Chelsea? Oh, that was a horrible noise. Start against Chelsea. Yes or no? Yep, Stephen Warnock's experienced in the Premier League. Why don't we bring Sam Allardyce back in? He's experienced in the Premier League. Experience only goes so far. I'll be honest, I'm definitely starting him against Chelsea. He'd have a busy game. Of course he'll have a busy game. I think Chelsea will create opportunities, but I'm putting him in there. The best place for him to start would be to start at Old Trafford. Not to start away at Brentford. You could say you could wait until Sunderland, but then there's 2 more Premier League games where you've got a brand new goalkeeper sitting on the bench. I think it's either Chelsea or Sunderland. You don't start him at Brentford. Right? You don't start him at Brentford. You start him at Old Trafford. So it's either Chelsea or it's Sunderland. One of the two. Paul going down there, don't berate him if we lose. It's not really about fan berating. This is kind of a big thing here. Ruben Amorim, if he wasn't to start him, it wouldn't be because he's trying to protect him from United fans. To a certain degree, if he made a mistake, United fans would, but they would, as we spoke about earlier, can't really call them fans per se. It would be the wider media. It would be fans of other clubs whipping out memes and just rinsing Lammens and taking the piss. Football banter, as it's called. I do think, I'm pretty sure banter is I hate that word so much. I don't know why I hate it so much, but I do. 92% of you are saying yes, he should start, and I would start him. I would say there's no point in... It's not really a no point thing. It's a tough environment to come into. It only got tougher after City. I'm really glad that Ruben Amorim didn't play Senne Lammens in that game. I'm not saying that as captain hindsight. I think that was the right call to protect him in that game. But I think he should be coming in against Chelsea. You could argue, it's too big a game. The environment's not correct. Or who's to say we don't get good results against Chelsea and Brentford and then we play Sunderland at home? I mean, that would be equally as much pressure. And then he would only play one game before our next game is against Liverpool at Anfield, where you do want him to start. I think he should start. James, you're saying that he needs to start. I'll be honest, it's 92% of you saying yes, so I don't really need to go down there and read all the comments out. But look, I thought this was an interesting one. This is his comments from his brother, sort of speaking about his move to United, right? Being initially sceptical, but I thought this was an interesting part. He's saying that Tony Cotton, United's goalkeeping scout, had been following him for almost a year and was very convinced of his qualities. So you know how we've spoken about why Senne Lammens was signed, and we know that data played a big part of it. There's quite a few of you, they're like, we all say this, like, data is only part of the transfer puzzle. So his brother here is saying that, look, United had actually been scouting him for a full year. So that would be eye test, scouts doing the traditional job of looking at individuals, and then you add the data on top of that. So I think my point here is that tells us that we didn't just sign Senne Lammens because we looked at some numbers and went, wow, he's top there. Hey, go on and bring him in. Ooh, let's get rid of Onana. United have obviously been doing their due diligence in the background and scouting players, and they've been scouting him for a year, traditional scouting-wise. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring you that. Might make you feel better. Data was why Onana was signed after Van der Sar praised him. I don't remember really having a conversation about data when I was doing the Onana video, and we were talking about Onana at the time. I think United leaned on experience there. I think United went and signed the goalkeeper who had just played the Champions League final, but had a cracking season with Inter, has played at two clubs that were arguably the biggest clubs in their respective countries. I mean, you can have an argument all day long about who the biggest club in Italy is, but Inter's right up there. And Ajax is the biggest club. So I think that's why United signed Onana. More than data, I think it was them thinking and feeling that he was ready to be Manchester United's number one because he played for these clubs before. Anyway, someone down there said, Praddy, saying, hi Sam, why our fans don't have patience? Why can't we stick with Amorim? If other managers come in, the deadwood can't be removed, then Amorim is removing them. I think, not really sure what that comment's kind of trying to say, if I'm being honest. Fans do have patience. Like, I'll be honest. Others might disagree with this, but I genuinely think the United fan base, the United match-going fan base, is one of the most patient that exists at a top club. You might say I'm lying with that one, but I really do think we are. But you can't finish 15th as Manchester United manager and then start the season and have us in 14th after 4 games and not expect some sort of heat, some sort of kickback. Like, are you mad? Of course there's going to be kickback. Of course there's going to be heat. I think those taking it to the extreme of saying that Ruben Amorim should be sacked, I think are jumping early. But then those fans might come back to me and say, hold on, Sam, we've had that whole last season. We're 9 months, 11 months, was it November the 1st? 10 months in. We need some results, man. And we've got to start against Chelsea. Now, as I said, my lunchtime video is going to be a very simple tactical one. I'm not going to dive into the numbers and I'm just going to show you one tweak I would make that I think, you know what, that could actually work. I don't think that's going to be because you can't go between City on Sunday and Chelsea on Saturday and have, well, if you realize, so Monday's going to be recovery day for anybody who played. Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday, probably 3 full training sessions. And then you probably have a kind of a lighter session on a Friday. So 3 full training sessions between City and Chelsea. You can't possibly expect that there's going to be a completely new formation thrown in and everyone's going to play in different positions. No, it's got to be small changes. And that's what I'm going to run through at lunchtime today. Now, I know that you're exhausted with these sorts of conversations. David Beckham said it right. He said he's kind of we're just fed up as United fans. And we are. Because it's been tough. But thank you all for tuning in, for joining in. Thank you all for your comments and getting involved in the chat. I'm always here. Monday to Friday, 10 a.m., every single weekday. And I've been doing, I don't know how long we've been doing these live shows for now. And I will continue to be here. And if we lose against Chelsea, I'll be here on Monday morning. Anyway, today's video, as I said, it's on the tactical tweaks. Tomorrow's, how have I cut myself there? Tomorrow's video. Don't know, done that. Tomorrow's video, going to be doing it on Shea Lacey. I think you'll enjoy that one. Friday is going to be on Chelsea and start 11. And then Saturday's game. All right. Make sure you tune in at lunchtime. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Much love.